Uganda, a landlocked nation in East Africa, boasts a history as rich and vibrant as its diverse landscape. Its rolling hills, vast savannas, and dense forests have witnessed the rise and fall of numerous civilizations over the centuries. Long before the arrival of European powers, Uganda was home to a tapestry of kingdoms and societies, each with its own unique culture and traditions. These societies were not isolated. They interacted, traded, and sometimes clashed, creating a dynamic and interconnected region. These early kingdoms were not mere tribal entities. They were sophisticated polities with complex social structures, advanced governance systems, and thriving trade networks. Markets bustled with activity, and governance artifacts reveal a deep understanding of administration and law. Among these kingdoms, the Buganda Kingdom stood out for its influence and power. It was a beacon of political and cultural development, setting standards that many other kingdoms aspired to. Located in the southern part of present-day Uganda, the Buganda Kingdom developed a centralized system of governance under a powerful king, known as the Kabaka. The Kabaka wielded significant authority, and his decisions shaped the destiny of the kingdom. The Kabaka's rule extended over a vast territory, and his court became a center of culture, art, and diplomacy. The royal court was a hub of activity where artisans, diplomats, and scholars gathered to contribute to the kingdom's prosperity. The kingdom's strategic location near Lake Victoria, a vital trade route, further enhanced its prosperity and influence. The lake served as a conduit for trade, bringing goods and ideas from distant lands. Beyond the Buganda Kingdom, other kingdoms like Bunyoro, Ankole, and Toro flourished in different parts of present-day Uganda. Each of these kingdoms had its own unique characteristics and contributions to the region's history. Each kingdom developed its own unique political and social structures, often influenced by their geographic location and interactions with neighboring communities. These interactions were not always peaceful, but they were crucial in shaping the region's history. These kingdoms engaged in trade with one another, exchanging goods, ideas, and cultural practices. Trade routes crisscrossed the region, facilitating the flow of commodities like salt, iron, and agricultural products. This intermingling of cultures contributed to the rich tapestry of traditions that continue to characterize Uganda today. Dance, music, and art from this period still influence contemporary Ugandan culture. The pre-colonial era in Uganda was a period of significant cultural and societal development. Villages thrived, and cultural artifacts from this time reveal a society deeply connected to its roots and traditions. The kingdoms that flourished during this time laid the foundation for the nation's future, shaping its identity and leaving an indelible mark on its history. These landmarks and maps are a testament to the ingenuity and resilience of the people. This period stands as a testament to the ingenuity, resilience, and cultural richness of the Ugandan people, long before the arrival of external forces. The crafts and community gatherings from this era continue to inspire and influence modern Ugandan society. The 19th century marked a significant turning point in Uganda's history with the arrival of new actors on the scene: Arab traders from the East African coast. These traders were not just merchants, they were pioneers who brought with them new ideas, cultures, and religions that would leave an indelible mark on the region. Alongside the Arab traders, European explorers began venturing into the African interior, driven by a mix of curiosity, scientific interest, and the allure of uncharted territories. These encounters brought about profound changes, gradually transforming Uganda's political landscape and setting the stage for its colonial experience. The interactions between local kingdoms and these foreign entities were complex and multifaceted, leading to alliances, conflicts, and significant shifts in power dynamics. Arab traders, primarily from Zanzibar, arrived in Uganda in the early 19th century seeking ivory, slaves, and other valuable commodities. Their arrival was not merely a commercial venture, but also a cultural exchange that introduced new practices and beliefs to the local populations. They established trading posts and routes connecting Uganda to the East African coast and the wider Indian Ocean trade network. These trade routes facilitated the movement of goods, people, and ideas, creating a vibrant and dynamic economic landscape. The arrival of Arab traders introduced Islam to the region, which gradually gained converts, particularly among the ruling elite in some kingdoms. This religious shift had lasting impacts on the cultural and social fabric of Uganda, influencing everything from governance to daily life. Following closely on the heels of Arab traders were European explorers, driven by a mix of curiosity, commercial interests, and imperial ambitions. These explorers documented their journeys, mapping the region and providing valuable information that would later be used for colonial purposes. John Hanning Speke, a British explorer, is credited as the first European to reach the source of the Nile in 1862, further piquing European interest in the region. His discovery was a significant milestone that drew the attention of European powers to Uganda's strategic importance. The arrival of explorers like Speke paved the way for missionaries who sought to spread Christianity and establish their presence in Uganda. These missionaries played a crucial role in the cultural and educational development of the region, setting up schools and churches that would influence generations to come. The late 19th century witnessed a scramble for Africa, with European powers vying for control of the continent's resources and territories. This period was marked by intense competition and negotiation among European nations, each seeking to expand their influence and secure valuable resources. Britain, eager to secure its interests in the strategically important Nile region, declared Uganda a British protectorate in 1894. This move was part of a broader strategy to control the sources of the Nile and ensure the security of their colonial holdings in Egypt and Sudan. This marked the beginning of British colonial rule in Uganda, a period that would have far-reaching consequences for the country's social, political, and economic development. The colonial administration introduced new systems of governance, infrastructure, and education, which would shape the future trajectory of Uganda in profound ways. The imposition of British colonial rule in Uganda did not meet with passive acceptance. From the very beginning, the Ugandan people showed resilience and a strong desire to protect their sovereignty and way of life. Resistance to British authority emerged from various quarters, laying the groundwork for the nationalist movements that would eventually lead to Uganda's independence. These early acts of defiance were crucial in building a collective consciousness among Ugandans. Early resistance to colonial rule often took the forms of localized uprisings, with communities protesting against forced labor, taxation, and the erosion of their traditional ways of life. These protests were not just about immediate grievances, but also about preserving their cultural identity and autonomy. Religious leaders, particularly within the Catholic and Protestant communities, also played a role in challenging colonial policies they deemed unjust. Their influence extended beyond spiritual guidance as they mobilized their congregations to stand against the oppressive colonial regime. As the 20th century progressed, a more organized nationalist movement began to take shape in Uganda. This movement was characterized by a unified vision for an independent nation, free from colonial rule. Educated Africans, influenced by Pan-Africanist ideas and the wave of decolonization sweeping across the continent, began to demand self-rule. They were inspired by the successes of other African nations and were determined to achieve the same for Uganda. Political parties emerged, advocating for an end to British rule and the establishment of an independent Ugandan nation. These parties played a pivotal role in organizing mass protests, rallies, and negotiations with the colonial authorities. The path to independence was not without its challenges. The nationalist movement faced numerous obstacles, including repression from the colonial government and internal disagreements. Internal divisions within the nationalist movement, often along ethnic and religious lines, complicated the struggle for self-determination. These divisions sometimes threatened to derail the movement, but the shared goal of independence kept the momentum going. The British, for their part, were reluctant to relinquish control of their strategically important colony, employing various tactics to delay the inevitable. They attempted to placate the nationalist leaders with limited reforms while maintaining their grip on power. Despite these obstacles, the tide of history was turning. The growing strength of the nationalist movement, coupled with increasing international pressure, made it clear that colonial rule in Uganda was unsustainable. The growing strength of the nationalist movement, coupled with Britain's waning appetite for maintaining its colonial empire, made Uganda's independence a matter of when, not if. The determination and resilience of the Ugandan people were finally paying off. Finally, on October 9, 1962, Uganda achieved its long-sought independence, marking a new chapter in its history. The celebrations were a testament to the enduring spirit of the Ugandan people and their unwavering quest for freedom. Idi Amin's rule, which began in 1971, was marked by extreme violence and widespread human rights abuses. His regime was responsible for the deaths of an estimated 300,000 Ugandans. Amin's erratic policies and brutal tactics left the country in a state of fear and chaos. By 1979, his reign of terror came to an end when Tanzanian forces, along with Ugandan exiles, overthrew him. Amin fled into exile, leaving behind a nation in disarray. After Amin's fall, Uganda faced a period of turmoil and instability. Various factions vied for power, leading to a series of short-lived governments. In 1986, Yoweri Museveni and his National Resistance Army seized control, promising to restore order and rebuild the nation. Museveni's rise marked the beginning of a new era for Uganda, one focused on recovery and development. However, his long tenure has also sparked debates about democracy and governance in the country. In 1986, Yoweri Museveni took power, promising a new era of stability and growth for Uganda. His early years in office were marked by significant efforts to rebuild the nation after years of turmoil. Museveni's leadership brought hope to many Ugandans who longed for peace and prosperity. Under Museveni's leadership, Uganda saw notable economic and social progress. The government implemented policies aimed at improving healthcare, education, and infrastructure. Foreign investment increased, and the economy began to show signs of recovery. These changes brought tangible benefits to many Ugandans, fostering a sense of optimism about the country's future. Despite the progress, Museveni's long tenure has not been without controversy. Allegations of corruption, human rights abuses, and political repression have marred his administration. Critics argue that his extended rule has stifled democracy and hindered further development. These challenges have sparked debates about the direction of Uganda's future and the need for political reform. As we reflect on Uganda's past, it's clear that understanding its history is crucial for shaping its future. The journey from colonial rule to independence, through periods of conflict and recovery, has defined the nation's identity. By learning from the past, Ugandans can work towards a more inclusive and prosperous future, ensuring that the lessons of history guide their path forward.